Hello and welcome. I am truly always honored to be here to give people information about becoming a doula to see if it's a right fit for you, or if you are a doula, hopefully to go deeper and remind you of some of the context. We're going to go back and look at kind of her story. What was it like in the past at birth? What are some of the roles that doulas play? What's the research? What's the path to certification? And then I'm going to open it up to Q&A. So I really look forward to your questions, your feedbacks, your thought. If you can kind of hold that to the end and we'll open it up. People are hopefully going to share where in the world you are in the chat. And again, if you are already a doula, have you taken a workshop? Where are you in that path? Or are you here because you're wondering if being a doula is right for you? So a little bit about me. I'm Debra Pascali-Bonaro. It's pretty amazing for me to reflect, but in 2025, which is approaching soon, I will hit 40 years as a doula. And when I think back to some of my first births, I didn't even know the word doula. I was a childbirth educator that would come to the birth with you. And so I truly was at the very beginning of the doula movement starting because I had already been attending births when I met Penny Simpkin, Marshall Klaus, John Kennel, Phyllis Klaus, and Annie Kennedy, and many of them have passed on now. But I became a part of the very first board of DONA International. I'm still with DONA International, and over the years, I've been really, truly honored and blessed to be a part of some of the doula studies and to in person teach doulas in more than 40 different countries around the world, see the development and be at some of the very first community doula programs that happened in my region in New York and New Jersey, and really watched as doulas have been integrated in so many ways. I also am a passionate advocate, so speaking up and speaking out about birth equity and birth justice and all the ways that we can make birth better for every single person. So doulas are a big part of that, but not the only part. But today we're going to stay focused on the doula piece. So for those that are following me on social, thank you. For those that aren't, if you have a social account, you can find me either at my own name, Debra Pascali-Bonaro, or at Orgasmic Birth. I would love for you to take your favorite thing today, take a picture, post it out, tag me. What are you taking away from our time together? Or what is this inspiring you, whether to become a doula or expand your practice? I also have a podcast. And just for disclosure, it's not just about doulas, although we do have sessions about doulas, and many people share their birth stories that include doulas in them. And some doulas come and share their stories. So there's definitely a doula element that weaves through, but it's also very much about the fullness of birth. How can we heal what needs to be healed and approach birth with pleasure? Understanding the hormones, the physiology, and that birth is a part of our intimate lives. So if you'd like more, follow our podcast, and we're always welcoming people that have both positive, challenging, healing, rewarding, pleasurable births. So if there's something you'd like to share, reach out to me. When we look back at doulas, people think that doulas are new. And I want to say doulas are ancient. I love to look at birth art. Those that have done workshops know with me that I always kind of bring the art in. Even before there was written text, there was artwork that shows that when people were giving birth, and all those years ago, all birth happened in community at home, people were always birthing upright. And so there was always a midwife there in front to catch or receive the baby. And then there would be other, often females, that were providing support and comfort. And so this kind of circle of support is everywhere. So what a doula is doing is reconnecting the circle. When birth moved from home to hospital, which there are benefits from medical care, but there's also many things that we've lost. And in my workshops, we go much deeper into that history, or like I like to say, her story of birth, and then what have we lost, what have we gained, and what do we need to create today to have a healthy model of care that's safe, respectful, and equitable for all. But if we look back, one of the things that got left or stripped and sterilized away when birth moved from home to hospital was female companionship. And honestly, any companionship, because early on, and still today, left over some from the pandemic, too many people are laboring either alone or with only one person, and often that one person is their partner. If that is a male partner, that's relatively new in human history. As you'll see in these pictures, it was always the circle of women that were around the birthing woman, the birthing person. And we're only now beginning to learn that women, bodies that have heightened estrogen, produce hormones in a different way than bodies that are typically male with heightened testosterone. And so there may be reasons that sometimes women that live together have menstrual cycles together. And we're starting to uncover that women in that circle of support may be impacting the hormones, the physiology of birth in different ways. And maybe that's why all the traditional pictures always show this circle of women. And women handed down these skills. They were at the births of, their friends. They were at the births. If you were a child and you have younger siblings, you would have been at those births. If you have aunties with younger cousins, your mother might have gone to those births. So 100+ years ago, many people went to many births. We now live in a time where for many people, the first birth they see is their own. So these skills of offering comfort and support have been lost. They're no longer a part of our communities. So doulas are a way of remembering and returning them. And it's not just humans. I love animals. Bats always give birth with another female. And what's really amazing is if you think about bats, they usually hang upside down. On the left here, you can see the laboring bat is upside down, head down, feet up, and trying to push uphill, which is just about as silly as when we take people and put them in bed to labor and birth, then put their legs in the air and make them push the baby, the biggest thing ever coming out of their body, uphill, rather than, as you saw in the pictures I just showed, in birth that happened in the past, birth was always upright. And as doulas, we're going to learn all kinds of techniques and how can we support people to move and listen to their body and baby, and to birth using gravity in more upright positions. So you can see the female bat, it's not the male bat, but another female that comes in and says, this is the day you turn around, head up, bottom down. And when that bat listens and turns around, that little baby now can slide out so much easier because gravity is offering support. But I have to say that bat actually turns around and catches the baby, and that makes that support a midwife, right? As doulas, we don't do any clinical skills. We don't listen to heart tones. We don't palpate babies. We certainly don't catch babies. The benefit of doulas is we are emotional and physical support and comfort. And we work alongside of our midwives, with our nurses, with our physicians. So we work with the people that are doing the medical care to keep birth safe, but we're providing all the emotional and comfort that, again, is often sterilized out of the system. And our caregivers would love often to provide more hands-on care, But most of the time in a hospital setting, they're caring for two or more people in labor at a time. They're really having so many responsibilities that even though they often wish they could do more, they often don't have the time or the ability to just stay focused on one person and be fully present for them in birth. So this bat, though, was able to be there and catch the baby. And not only that, elephants. I love elephants. There's a laboring elephant in the middle of that circle there. And what happens is all the females, young and old, make a circle around the laboring elephant, and we actually know they sway in rhythm with the laboring elephant. Meanwhile, the male or the bull elephant is off in the distance, kind of keeping the perimeter safe. And you can see here, if there was movement, you would see they would be moving in rhythm, but they're actually using their trunks, right? They're doing physical support with each other. If you can see, there are little legs starting to come out back there. And what I love is after the baby's born safely in the circle, they trumpet, they all raise their voice to welcome the newborn. And that's what we do as doulas, right? We move with the rhythm of the people, the family that we're supporting. We honor their culture, their rhythm, their beliefs, their values, and we're there to celebrate this accomplishment. Sometimes when people labor, right, they're asked to go deeper into challenge, into discovering strengths they didn't know they had. And within that, we often say, we not only do they birth their babe, but they often rebirth themselves. And we're there to really honor and be with families as they go through this journey. Dr. Kennel, years ago, after the doula studies started coming out and showing that people that had a doula who just stayed from the minute labor required support until an hour or two after birth, their labor was not only shorter, they had less interventions, less likely to have a cesarean, less likely to request an epidural. And if labor was shorter and easier, then babies were born healthier, less likely to go to a NICU, a neonatal intensive care unit. Mothers were more satisfied with their birth. Babies were more ready to feed right after birth, and they went home sooner because they didn't need extra care. And when these studies came out in the 90s, Dr. Kennel said if a doula were a drug, it would be unethical not to use it. And I have to say, I thought hospitals all over the world would start wanting doulas for every person. But most of you here know that didn't happen. And sadly, it's taken many, many years and many doulas raising their voice around the world to get doulas more incorporated into healthcare. But I think this statement is still true today. With the benefits a doula has, if it were a drug, we'd give the drug to every person. But I think it's harder when it's human companionship for the system to honor and really value the significance of that emotional support and comfort. So we do know, as I mentioned, doulas improve many outcomes, which is pretty amazing. And I know it's hard sometimes for our doctors, midwives, and nurses. They've gone to school for a long time, often incurred a lot of debt, and their intention is really, truly to do their best and to make birth as safe as possible. So when they find out that a doula that just does a few days of learning and can be there really smiling, holding a hand, offering some comfort makes such a difference, they have a little pushback because they're hoping to do that. But it has taken time, and they are realizing that we are the missing link in that circle of support. And by adding a doula, we're not taking away from the need for doctors, midwives, and nurses and their good care, but we're completing the circle. And so we do have statements now from our obstetricians in the United States that one of the most effective tools to improve labor and delivery outcomes is the continuous presence of a support person such as a doula. And we are seeing, I love the website evidencebasedbirth.com. We're seeing more and more people that post the data, and there's always new science studying doulas, really showing these benefits. How when you have a doula, right, you move more, they have increased self-esteem, decreased pain, decreased anxiety, which leads to less use of epidurals, which uses less Pitocin or synthetic oxytocin, and more likely to have a spontaneous birth, right? So we know that birth interventions often domino, and sometimes if we can eliminate the first one, then we eliminate the downstream. So definitely take time. We have so many doula studies. We also, the nationalpartnership.org is another website with great doula studies, and they actually show how coverage in the United States by Medicaid and private insurance will lead not only to cost savings, even including paying the doula, but will lead to many health benefits. So definitely important to look that the data is strong in supporting that every person should have a doula. And I and many, many other people around the world and in the US are working and advocating. Dona has been a real leader in this, in making sure that doulas should not be an out-of-pocket expense, but should be covered by the healthcare system so that every person has the opportunity to have a doula if they want one. So this definitely is a great handout about healthcare insurance. We also are getting lots and lots, and in my workshops, we'll go over this a lot. And I provide all these resources in my workshops and more. We're really seeing that community-based doula models as a standard of care for ending racial disparities. So again, this states that doulas are trained to provide non-clinical, emotional, physical, and informational support to people before, during, and after labor and birth. Doulas can be particularly beneficial for women of color and women from low-income and underserved communities, and can help reduce health disparities by ensuring that pregnant people who face the greatest risks have the added support they need. So there are many, many community programs now, and a lot of research and great reports to look at about this. Another website I love is the National Health Law, and they're doing a lot with how doulas are one piece of the solution to address these racial disparities and to expand access to full spectrum doula care. And they end this statement by saying doulas who understand the physical, social, and emotional impacts of racism can provide much needed support to their clients, and above all, act as their advocates as their clients navigate medical care systems. And with that, when we have our doula workshops, our very first session is a look at racism. Where does racism show up in the US system? But with Working International, we encourage you to look at where is there racism in every system around the world, and how can we work as doulas to create equity and birth justice. And that theme is woven throughout our workshops. But the National Health Law Project has a really good document all on this, and they also go further. I'm coming to you today from New Jersey, and in my state, we actually have coverage for both Medicaid, which is kind of the public insurance, many private carriers, and many corporations, which means that the majority of birthing families in New Jersey have access to doula care, whether they know it or not. And this website shows you the other states in the United States that right now either have coverage, and New York, our neighbor, does. The other states that are kind of pending, so they're working on coverage, and you can also see all the states in the US that currently don't have anything pending or being worked on. So it is my dream that hopefully in a few years this would be universal through the United States and all states will have Medicaid reimbursement and private insurance. And I also hope that around the world, we are seeing in some places in the European Union, there is some reimbursement for doulas in some countries, particularly for refugees that are coming in, understanding that people that are new to a country might not speak the language, need even more support at birth. We're also seeing a lot of grant programs that are funding doulas and communities finding creative ways to fund. Even in New York City, there is funding through the New York City Mayor's Office and funding through the New York City Department of Health. So depending on where you live, they're all different streams that may be accessible to pay doulas and make them available to all. So we dive much deeper into this as well. And I have to share that I also co-chair the International Childbirth Initiative. I have been volunteering for this and other global organizations for about 25 to 30 years now to help that we have safe and respectful and equitable care everywhere in the world. And so it's really an honor to work with so many organizations and people and the research that's put together these 12 steps. If you go to ICI Childbirth, you'll learn more about it, or again, join me at a workshop and I'll be sharing more about it. But I mention this because our step 4 includes continuity of care, includes support for whoever that person wants with them, whether that's their husband, their partner, their sister, their mother, the friend, but it also includes a doula. And it does state that the best outcomes are usually when it is a doula that has some training. So doulas are becoming a part, not only I mentioned the US, but we're becoming a part of global initiatives. And we currently have ICI sites in 35 countries and over 100 facilities. And a lot of the facilities are adding doulas right now because they see doulas as a really important first or second step to ensure that safe and respectful care for everyone, where every person's voice and choice is heard. I am with Dona International from the very beginning in 1992. This is a recent cover of the International Doula, their quarterly journal. You can see me on the cover there, together with doulas from Dona and from the Doulas of France and from the European Doula Network. We all came together to be at the FIGO, the International Federation of OBGYN conference a year ago in Paris. And so as doulas, we're coming together as doulas all over the world to say, how can we educate our providers about doulas and build more collaborative relationships? So I know I promised I'd talk about certification, and I definitely want you to know because in the past, many people heard that DONA certification was a barrier or a stumbling block. And I know for some people it was. It was even a little overwhelming sometimes to try to teach it. But DONA has listened and they've responded and they've created a much easier path to certification. So the first thing to do is to attend a DONA workshop. And that's what I offer. And so do many other trainers as well. So you can find one that meets your needs. I always teach my workshop as well with the introduction to childbirth, which is another requirement for DONA. So I kind of put them together. So in 4 days, you get that DONA International workshop and your intro to childbirth together. Then you become a member of DONA. There is another course that you can either do on the DONA website, or you could also find it in your local community. And that's a 3-hour introduction to lactation support. The course online is quite good. Then you have 4 books to read. One of the books is actually a prerequisite, The Birth Partner by Penny Simkin, to read before the workshop and have it available for support during the workshop. And the other three are books that you get to pick. They kind of give you a lot of categories and a lot of books, and you pick the three that will most support you and fill in your knowledge. Some of these books are on Audible. Some of the books are available in Spanish and other languages. So Dona is working to make that reading accessible. One of the categories, if there are no books in it that really call to you, you could actually choose your own book and then write in why you chose that, and that was a better choice for you. You also do need to create a list of a lot of resources that exist in your community. What are the things for pregnant people and families? What are there for postpartum, including lactation resources, groups for postpartum mood and anxiety, depression, the many things that new parents and expectant parents might want to know from you. And I always say that's a marketing opportunity too, so I'll get to that later as well. You do need to do like a self-assessment questionnaire, and that's pretty easy just to take some time and reflect. Are you kind of ready? And really, most of the process is then attending 3 births. Now, I get every once in a while that people say, I can't get to the birth because they want me to be certified to get in. DONA does have a provisional certification. And if you become a member of DONA after you take a doula course, and wait till after, because if you take the course with me, you get a coupon for $30 off your DONA membership. So that will make it more accessible and cheaper if you wait till after the course. And then if you write to DONA and say, I'm having trouble getting those 3 births, they'll say, well, if you complete the reading, you do the self-assessment, you've taken the breastfeeding class, you did Debra's workshop, and you make that referral list, we will give you a provisional certification so that it says you are certified by DONA. That way you can show that to facilities and or clients, and then you can get the 3 births that you need, and you'll resubmit to get your full certification within the next 6 months from having received the provisional. DONA does really try to work, so if you have situations, they are really there to listen. You have 3 years from the time that you take a workshop to get certified. It's a long time. I actually say don't take that long, because most people that wait 3 years, kind of out of sight, out of mind, let it kind of go by. I would say to really try after a workshop, if it can, to really focus on it the next 6 months to a year. And I have a lot of people that are certified within 6 months to a year of the workshop. And then it's really pay your fees for DONA. Your certification packet is free. I buy it for you when you attend my workshop. So you get that as a part of your DONA manual. What you have to pay is to upload your packet and actually get certified after. So you pay that fee, you upload, and as they say, you celebrate. So really, just to recap, and this is on the DONA website, it's reading 4 books, it's taking a course with me or someone else, it's doing that 3-hour breastfeeding, it's making that resource list, which we'll work with you on as well. And it is attending those 3 births. And again, that's something I'll be talking more about. And I even offer a business Q&A where we can brainstorm together ways that you can market so that you can find those clients depending on where in the world you are. So I do like to say, I've heard this again and again from people all over the world with doula workshops. Doula skills are life skills. The number of people who said to me, I wish I had this when I was in high school. I think Every person should take a doula course, whether they ever want to have a baby or not, because it will allow them to support friends, family, community in different ways. So these are really skills that I too wish we could just return to community. So having them, even if you're not planning on being a doula forever, are usually skills that you're going to find are going to support you in other ways. You're going to learn hands-on skills, a lot of comfort measures, labor support techniques, and emotional support that, again, you can use with clients, friends, and family. You'll understand in a lot more depth the birthing process, from the stages of labor to the benefits, risks, and alternatives of all interventions, different birthing positions, what the science says. And our doula workshops give you a great community. The people that come together to do this are just like-minded individuals. It creates a supportive network for you. I believe it's a lot of personal growth and insights. Many people have said that the doula workshop provided healing for them. It helped their own empathy and communication and resilience. Again, benefiting personal as well as professional. And we are a path to certification. So certification does, with Dona International, brings a level of credibility to your work. Dona does really get a lot of hits on their website. And once you're certified, if you want, you can have your name, your website, your email on the Dona website. And many people get many clients and job opportunities from that. So a few things to ask yourself: is being a doula right for you right now? Are you inspired by pregnancy, birth, and postpartum? Do you have a love for these topics? I think that's the basis. The main skill of a doula is a caring heart. So if you're already feeling that you're here and you're compelled to offer that kind of care and support, whether it's to your best friend, your daughter, your neighbor, or a stranger in your community that needs extra care, then you're an awesome doula. We do provide that emotional and physical support, and this can be life-changing for others. So it allows you to really make a difference. We stay informed in the latest research. So do you enjoy learning about the science behind birth? How is being on call for you? That's when I always say think through, because it does require flexibility. Birth can happen any day of the week at any time, but you also have the opportunity to partner with other doulas. When I was a new doula and I had little ones, I couldn't be available 24/7. So there were times I partnered with 3 or 4 people and we divvied up the 7 days. We often did childcare for each other. So if I went to a birth, my other backup doula watched my children and we swapped there. There was a point in time where there were 7 of us and we came together and we each took a different day. So only 1 day a week was I on call for births. We also, and I'll share in our workshops about this, there are not only agencies that you can join where you can sign up for different days or shifts or get partners. There are also many community doula programs now, depending on where you are located, that you might be able to join again to have more partnership and share different call at different times. So being on call 24/7 is not required. Most doulas either have a family, other obligations, maybe other careers and work, and we'll be talking. There are ways to find that flexibility. But ultimately, I have to say, you have to be ready to miss a night's sleep. If sleep is too important to you, then maybe you want to be a postpartum doula instead. But birth doulas, babies often come in the middle of the night. Do you want to facilitate informed decision? I know for me, I'm passionate that every person's voice and choice is heard every day, but especially on the day they're bringing life into the world. So it's really special to be able to be there, never to speak for someone, but to help each person understand their options and to know that it's their ability to make those decisions about their body and their baby. And doula work is rewarding. So, do you feel personally called to make a difference in the birth experience? I always have to say, as much as doula work is giving on one level, I always feel I receive so much more back. It has truly been one of my greatest gifts to be able to be with people on the day they bring their baby or babies into the world and to really see them both face their challenges, but also, we hope, celebrate their joys. So, when we think about anti racism and birth equity, I like to partner with many other teachers. I feel it's always really important to make sure, even in our workshop, all different voices are heard. One of the teachers I'm always honored to work with is Shawnee Benton Gibson. She is one of the teachers that does our anti racism and birth equity session. She'll be our special guest in November. We also have Amaduma Bediako, who does some of our anti-racism and birth equity, and Sokna Maven as well. So we have different teachers that rotate in on different sessions based on their availability. But for me, this is an essential intro session that we offer with our workshops. We also do that introduction to childbirth I shared with you, where we really look at the anatomy, physiology, the stages of labor, the science, the informed decision making, what is respectful maternity care. And then as we go into the doula workshop, we're going to learn a lot of hands-on, from wiggling and moving and jiggling. And another one of my guest teachers that joins us is Alejandra Lozano. She is a midwife from Mexico, and she will zoom in to teach us the history and the wisdom of the rebozo, the beautiful cloths and materials that we can use to kind of wrap around and jiggle and wiggle. We do a lot with listening and talking about cultural safety and sharing our different cultures, beliefs, and values, and ways that we create safe environments and offer that emotional support during pregnancy. We definitely go into challenging birth. So we know that many births benefit from epidurals, from a cesarean birth. So we talk about how we can help every birth, no matter what it asks of each person, to be a positive experience. And we do talk about different birth positions as well, and into postpartum. How do we support people in that golden hour after birth, and then to follow up postpartum? So I do like to offer a bonus session, and this is a Q&A to help us talk about DONA certification again. I will cover it in much more detail in the workshop, but I know, like many things, we often say spiral teaching. You hear it once and you took in a part of it. You hear it twice, you take in a little bit more. You hear it again, you take the rest in. So I do like to keep being available so that we can go over, because certification is something I really do hope to support you in. We also have a WhatsApp chat, and that chat is to prepare us for the workshop and be in touch and get to know each other. During the workshop, it's kind of a great group chat of links and what we're learning, what we're discussing. But after the workshop, it's really a place to continually to check back in, to be inspired, to support each other. And again, questions can happen here. I also like to add that DONA now has a certification, a free webinar, the second Tuesday of every month. And so once you take the workshop, you can attend that DONA webinar, and they will support you in certification. They answer your questions. They're really there every month, so you can do a live check-in and get answers. So between access to me on a bonus section, session, Donna, and our WhatsApp chat. I hope that you feel supported in the process. So again, what's included in my workshops is that ongoing WhatsApp is two aspects of getting certified for Donna, the intro to childbirth, the birth doula training, that anti-racism and birth equity session with a special guest, that hands-on comfort, including the rebozo with autonomous Mexican midwife Alejandra Lozano, certification, overview and explanation, that live bonus Q&A, and we use an online platform called Thinkific. And in that, we've made it easier for you to see your resources, to have access to your manual, to all the things, and that's lifetime access. So you have all your learning tools in one place. So once the workshop ends, rather than saying, where's this piece? Where's that piece? Was that an email? You can always go back into the platform and everything you have there is organized so you can access it anytime. So I wanted to
Debra
share
is
this.
amazing. She just has a wealth of knowledge and makes you feel loved and welcome. And really, you feel that energy and you just take it all in. I am so grateful for this training. I would recommend that anybody trains with Debra. So I just finished my third day of in-person doula training. And as I just said to my dear friend Ashley, I feel like I'm walking out a different woman than I walked in. I'm so grateful to you, Debra, and all of the other doulas. This has been a life-affirming and life-changing experience. I can't wait to bring everything that I've learned back with me and to bring love, support, compassion to every birth that I attend. Thank you so much.
So I'm always so moved that it's so much more, right, than what we think. So I know some people like to learn in person. I'm somebody who loves in person. I like to see you and be able to sit and have lunch together and hear your stories in a way that we can do virtually, but in person has a special piece. So I do have a hybrid coming up with 2 virtual days and 2 in-person days. So we'll do the beginning part virtual because that translates well. And then we'll be in Asbury Park, New Jersey, November 21st and 22nd, literally here. It's a small group. I'm only allowing 10 people max, which is definitely a small group, to come and join me in my home and in my living room to share. And I'm offering a special $150 off if you register in the next 48 hours using OB Doula 24. So definitely OB Doula 24, and I'll put into the chat where you can see all my upcoming workshops because I have several and that code will work for all of them. So if you go to orgasmicbirth.com/Donna-birth-doula-training, you'll go to where all my upcoming workshops are. Now, I do have a virtual coming up. It's starting to fill, so definitely if you're interested, join sooner than later, even though it's December. But again, we have an intro session December 2nd. December 5th and 6th are that intro to childbirth, the physiology, really looking at the labor and birth process. And then the following week, December 9th and 10th, are also virtual days where we're going to be diving deeper into the role of the doula. So on those days when we're going to practice comfort measures and that, I do ask that you either have for just 2 hours, whether it's a friend, a family member, or maybe you'll meet someone else in the workshop that happens to live not too far away. I'm always surprised how many people on that day have met each other and all of a sudden they're together. Or if you're near Asbury Park, then I invite you that day to come here so that you have someone to practice with. If you don't have someone on those days to practice the comfort measures with, you are able at a later date when you do have a person that you can practice with, to do some short videos and send them to me to verify that you did that piece. So even though it's virtual, we're still going to be moving, and I'm going to be asking you to get up and move, and we're going to learn all different ways to help people to a gentler, easier birth. And again, we have that bonus session there. I love Solar said her class is like a sensual, informational, motivational toolkit that is needed for the emotional support of the birthing experience. And this for those that want to come away and really do an 8-day retreat in Bali for
What
your
I'm really
training.
grateful for from the Eat Pray Doula course that I've been attending this week is the importance of a women's circle. We don't always get that back home in Western cultures, and it's more a question, where I come from, it's more a question of competition between women. But in this setting, it really, really felt very protective to have a circle of women who were in no way judging you, just on your side and loving you and supporting you, and have at one moment or another been in your same place.
So, for those that want to go away, we have a few spaces for our Eat, Pray Doula retreat in Bali, Indonesia. And this is 8 days in a real retreat setting. Registration includes your accommodations, most of your meals, not all. There are a few dinners that are on your own, but obviously you would have airfare that right now is getting some really good fares as well from different parts of the world. So if you're ready to really have a break, and want to really dive in, it's a very unique way of doing the doula workshop in a retreat setting. So I'm going to stop there so that I can answer any questions, and really share anything that might be coming up for you. I'll also try to put in the chat for those that are live with me. You have just the general link to the workshops, but I'm putting in all the other ones. So the hybrid in November with live in Asbury Park, the fully virtual in December, or March in Bali. So I'd love to hear if anyone would like to open a mic or drop something in the chat if you have any questions about becoming a doula or about being a doula. So I'd love to hear, if you are a doula, what you love with it and what might be challenges. And I know some of you are doulas here. Jennifer, I know you're in the certification process. And I also see Samantha, you're certified through IDI, and Jackie is in London. And you did a course with Michelle O'Don and Liliana Lammers, which is fantastic. There are so many wonderful opportunities to study and be doulas. Christine, please.
Hi, Deborah. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Okay. I'm a doula. I trained with you a couple of years ago, and it was such a fantastic opportunity. You're so sweet and funny, and I still have that video where we were dancing it out at the end of that last session. That was with Healthy Woman, Healthy Future, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it was awesome. And I absolutely love being a doula. I'm so passionate about it. It just fulfill my every, my client will call me 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's like it's go time, and I'm excited. I'm up and excited, and it it always bring that smiles to my face when during the birth session and beyond. And I guess that was something I was always looking for. Didn't know I really needed it until I started, because even though I heard about it like um, a year or so prior to me joining, I didn't really understand what it was about. But a second person told me about it, and I was like, okay, I guess I will try. But when I finally got into it, I was like, yeah, I that's where I felt whole. I felt myself right then. I'm very happy that I chose that path, and you are one of my instructor, and it was fun. The whole session was fun. So I tuned in anyway because I got that message from you, and I just love being in your class. So I have to tune in to hear what you're saying anyway. So um, nice seeing you.
Oh, it's so nice seeing you. Thank you so much, Christine. What a
You're very
joy to
welcome.
reconnect and hear your passion. So lots of
Thank
love
you.
to
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you so much.
And I see Jennifer's hand, and then I'll come to you, Zori, in 1 second. So Jennifer and then Zori.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. I wanted to join because I missed the Q&A at the end of my session, but I wanted to say for anyone who is thinking about joining one of the workshops or wants to get involved, do it. Don't second guess yourself. If you have to take some money from somewhere else, I know the holidays are coming up and it's hard, but this is a way for you to pour it back into yourself. So if you're on the fence and if you're able to do it, I would say don't second guess it. Sign up today if you can. If you need to speak to a partner or someone, it's well worth it. And then I also saw a question in the chat that's from Samantha saying my biggest challenge is reaching out to new clients. Same, Samantha, same. But I've been doing, today I did some marketing. I took my business cards, I took some things out, I called some of the people on my referral list that I'm making, and I'm putting myself on a schedule. Every day I say I'm going to, try to email or phone call or get together. And then also keep in touch with the people on your WhatsApp group, because there are partnerships that are being formed and businesses that are growing. So I would say do it. Just don't hesitate. You're going to have so much support, so much love from the circle of women. So I also wanted to say thank you again to Deborah for being such an inspiration. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. I so appreciate your words. And I want to just say yes, yes, yes to being consistent in marketing, right? Like reaching out and talking. Because so many people, as much as we think everybody knows what a doula is, they don't. And reaching out constantly, eventually it'll start coming back in for sure. It's making those connections. So thank you. And Zori,
Hello. I
hello.
already signed for your course, so I'm in. But I'm taking the orgasmic first. I think I started backwards, but it's okay. 'Cause I'm learning so much. I have two friends that they took courses with you. That's why I'm here. Like, cause like she was like pushing me for I think for 10 years now. She's been pushing me for me to be a doula. Yeah.
I love
But
it.
it's timing, right? Timing is timing. I think two questions. Is one is like you talk about some books that we need to read. Where I'm gonna find those books is one of the questions. And the other question is I'm not a doula, but I'm a grandma birth. I've been in like 7 already.
Wow.
I'm gonna have one pretty soon. We don't know. It's gonna be anytime like in the before the 26th. By the 26th of November, the other one is supposed to born. Um, I know that the classes start on December 2nd, but like if that one counts for what I need to do or no?
So,
My last one, not the 7th, my last one, the one
yeah,
that I'm gonna have like now recently.
yes. So the births only count once you've taken the course. So if the baby comes before the workshop, it won't count as one of the three. But I'm going to have to trust that other babies will arrive to be those three, right? So, because I know this baby's due soon, so it doesn't want to wait for the class.
about the books, like where do I find the books?
So on the Dona website, they have all the information. And you know what I'm going to do? Because it's so much easier to kind of show you, and then you'll be able to find it. Let me just take you. Let me get to dona.org. And I'll drop this in the chat for those of you that are in the chat, but I'm going to bring it up for you too. Let me drop it in. That's the website. I'm going to share the screen now because when you get to a big website like this, if you're like me, I get lost. I'm like, well, now where do I go? Because there are tabs everywhere, right? There's
Yep.
this kind of tab that says Become a Doula. I'm highlighting it now and it's giving you a drop down menu. And if you drop down, there's a tab here that says Birth Doula Certification. And so if you go to Birth Doula Certification and you scroll down, right, it gives you all the information. It has that infographic that I just had. It has a written guide in either English or Spanish about what the steps are to certification. And in that guide, it's going to actually tell you the reading list. Like in the guide, it has it. But another way to do it is come down here to the, I call it our doula library. It's called the resource library. And when you click on the resource library and you scroll down to certification documents and you go to birth doula certification right here in the middle, there is a tab that says reading list. And when you go here, it has the books. So one of the first books that we ask you to read, and if you already signed up, you already have this in Thinkific and you already have received emails that we're asking you to read The Birth Partner. And you can either get that as an Audible, to read it. It's in multiple languages, so you can find the language that's best for you. Then the other books, well, first of all, you have 2 papers, but when you get your Dona manual from me, these papers will be in there, or you can click and they're on the website. But then you have the other books. You have Group A, you choose 1 book, any of these 3. Group B, you choose 1 book, and you have a lot more books to choose from. And Group C is huge. You have 1 book from any of these topics. So you get to self-assess what are the topics that you feel you need more education in. So what I'll try to do, let me do this right now. I will just send you the link right now to the reading list. So you'll have it here in the chat. But I hope for everybody else watching later too, that you can see if you go to dona.org and come down into birth doula certification and down into the resource library, you can get access to all this information there. And no, there's even, last doula group gave me a tip I didn't know. A lot of these books are on Spotify. So people are even finding them on Spotify. And again, it depends on if you have a paid account or not, if you get access to all of them. And many of these books are accessible in libraries. So I would definitely look if you have a library in your community, or sometimes they even have to get it from another library. If you can wait, they can transfer it. And sometimes they're even getting them as audibles through the library if you prefer to listen as opposed to read. So definitely explore. The books should be accessible one way or another. I hope that helps, Bree.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm on my phone and all the buttons get like lost, so I have to be like trying to find
Clicking
them.
them.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Christine, you had something to share too.
Yes, I have one question. So my question is that couple years ago, after completing the class with CWHA, they had already paid for certification with donor. So as you know, I'm already a doula. I read one of the books. I did over 80 births over the past 2
Wow.
years. I did the breastfeeding class. Thank you.
Wow.
I do have a referral list. I also did a certification within the time, but I did it with a different agency, birthday present. But I feel like I still want to have a donor certification. Having said that and having those stuff, what else do I need to do? So far, I think I only did one of the birthday. I did one book, I think, and I started another one. But after I heard about of the that other certificate place I did the certification, it was like very quick, and CWHE had sponsored that also, so I did that, and it was but I still want a donor certification. I think like I'm
Yes.
almost there because like 3/4 of this stuff seem like according to what you said I already have. I think I probably just need to do those 3 more books.
Yes. And what I would say, and I'm trying to see if I can find it quickly here, I would say you want to join the DONA webinars that happen every month so that you can ask the specific questions for where you are. As long as you took the course in the last 3 years, you can definitely use all your experiences. So here's the link to Dona where I just dropped it in. You can register for their next webinar as long as you took the training with me, you've started the process, you have the certification packet, then going to that webinar, they can guide you.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And for
Sounds
everybody
great.
else that's done a workshop with Dona, definitely copy that link right now. And I can take one more question and then I have to go. So I see your hand up, Jackie.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Lovely to meet you, Deborah. I just wanted to ask you, do you have any recommendations in terms of how to get to these 3 births that we would need to attend? Any advice on how to get these first 3 births?
Where do you live?
I live in London.
Okay. So, and that helps because it's going to be different paths in different places, right? Because I'm not sure where you are in like having community doula programs or agencies and collectives for doulas and that. So what I would say is like when I started years ago, I didn't have a group to go to. So I'll give you my tip that I did at first. I went to the library and put my business card in every single book that was about pregnancy, birth, breastfeeding, and postpartum. And I got so many clients because people said to me, you must have forgotten your card when they called me. And I would say, oh, thank you, and then it gave me the opening to like, are you reading this because you're pregnant? And yes, and we would have these great conversations. The other thing is don't be shy. I would definitely encourage you to print up cards or a flyer. And even if your card is just a scannable and you do a one-page website so that people can go there to learn more. But like I'm in Asbury Park. I was walking by the beach yesterday. In my time of walking, I saw 3 pregnant bellies. Like go up to them and say, I see you're pregnant. I don't want to bother you right now, but like, I just wanted to leave that with you. If you get a chance, just scan it. You'll have my contact information if you have questions and would like to learn more about a doula. Like, you've got to start being out there. Go to places that pregnant people go. Go to play groups and prenatal yoga and childbirth classes and that. Call ahead and ask if you could come by and drop off your cards. Call office managers at midwifery practices and OBGYNs and also ask them if, they have a board. Some of our midwifery groups post boards where they keep the doula's information at. So sometimes just like really, and I think Jennifer said it well, pick 3 to 5 places a week, or if you can do more, 1 or 2 a day, and call and reach out both to listen. What do they offer? People always love to tell you what they do. And you need to know as a doula so you can make good referrals, right? but then say thank you so that I can add you to my referral list. Would you mind if I just took one more minute of your time and shared what I do? And, do you have any place where you could add me to your referrals, or could I stop by with a card? But I find that if you really start working it, once you start getting a few referrals, it kind of snowballs. It's getting the first few that are hard, right? After you have a few clients, they tell a friend, and it kind of just trickles out. But, and I'm seeing there's some more comments here too, right? What did you say? You volunteered for the Red Cross and learned that they have a mom's group. Fantastic. And that would be another thing on social media. A lot of communities have new parents communities, have places that expectant people are going to ask questions. Join those communities, join those discussions, not just posting about you, but like literally join the discussions, and you'll be able to weave in that you're a doula, and that will spark more interest too.
Thanks so
So
much.
you're welcome. So again, anyone that would like to begin this journey, I hope you'll consider potentially joining me at one of my upcoming workshops. Again, you have a code for $150 off. If you use it with like the next 48 hours, it's going to expire. So if you're thinking about it, you can set up payment plans. We also are always looking at ways that we can support you. So again, as Jennifer said, if there are barriers, let's talk about it. We're there to support you in finding the best way that you can be a doula. And if you've already trained, but you want to have DONA certification, or you just want to experience a different workshop, because we all have different approaches, reach out. I'm happy to answer more questions, talk to you, and support you along the way. And however you spread your doula passion, love, and wisdom, I just wish you blessings. I know that doulas are making a difference in our own lives, but truly are essential right now, because the climate of birth needs us to bring more care and love, for each person, so that every person, no matter what birth asks of them, has a positive experience. So I really thank you for making time to be here today. Great to see some of you that I already know and reconnect with you. And I hope others of you, Zori, I'll see you in the December workshop. I hope to see others of you again, one place or another. So lots of love, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One very quick question, Deborah. Did you say you have a orgasmic birth class coming up?
We're in it right now. Zori's in it. We're in week 3, so it's already closed.
Oh,
But
this
we'll
is very
open, send me an email at debra@orgasmicbirth.com. We'll open it up again in the spring. This group is currently closed because we're in it, but we'd love to have you in our advanced practitioners.
definitely. I love to be part of it. I'll send you the email and get in touch
Yeah,
with you.
send me debra@orgasmicbirth.com, and we'll send you info and put you on the wait list.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Oh, I'm glad. Thank you all for being here.